This episode is brought to you by procrastination and tendency to forget. Because why work on a project and then push it to the side to work on other projects? We can also completely forget to do it in the process.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Gamers Movie Intel. I'm Player One AnthonyTZ. Why did I say player? That wrong segment of this channel. I'm viewer AnthonyTZ, I guess I could say. Last episode we reviewed the Super Mario Brothers movie, and I gave that a rating of a C- in case you had watched it or didn't watch it. I don't know. That's actually got a lot of views, and I was actually happy about that. So I know that this is something good. This is a good segment on our channel to freaking do. And so I decided to take a poll to Twitter of what the next movie should be. And I had the options of voting for Resident Evil, Doom, a third movie, and the Mortal Kombat movie from the 90s. And needless to say, out of the 3 votes that were on the poll, 2 voted for the original Mortal Kombat. Now, I gotta say, unlike Super Mario Bros., I have actually seen this movie a handful of times. Like, literally a handful. I think I've seen it, like, at max 5 times. And one of those times was actually not too long before the newest Mortal Kombat movie came out. And I think I was just trying to fill myself up with some nostalgia goggles or something like that, because I really wanted that new movie to be good and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, let's watch some corniness. Let's play some video games. Let's do all this cool Mortal Kombat stuff. But is this movie good? Is this movie bad? Ask a room full of people, and half might say it's good and half might say it's bad. And I want to take a look to see, well, which one I think it is. Because I mean, yeah, I'll watch it if it's on or something like that, or if I'm like in the mood. But do I think this is a good movie? Well, with the super cheesy special effects and pretty decent set design and practical effects, let's take a look at the original 90s Mortal Kombat. Popcorn in hand, let's watch!
Alright, so first of all, we start this movie off with the intro credits to one of the most badass sounding music for any video game, the Mortal Kombat theme song. And then we are introduced to our main hero, Liu Kang, by having a dream of his brother being killed by the evil Shang Tsung. That's one way to start a movie. And then after we are introduced to Liu Kang, we are then introduced to Sonya Blade, who is on the hunt for another villain named Kano, who is employed by Shang Tsung. And she wants Kano's head because he freaking killed her old partner. And then after that introduction, we are introduced to Johnny Cage, who is working on one of his movies and is tired of people giving him crap for, like, thinking that he's not a real martial artist and all of his stunts are faked, even though he's actually a really well-talented martial artist and does all of his own stunts. But he is then told about a marvelous tournament that happens every once in a blue moon. Paraphrasing that. And it turns out the person recruiting him is Shang Tsung. So, literally, all 3 main heroes are basically brought into Mortal Kombat thanks to Shang Tsung. And then later, we see Liu Kang is visiting his old home at a freaking awesome-looking temple. After he's done hugging everybody and everything, we are then introduced to the Shinto god Raiden himself. But Liu Kang doesn't believe that that's Raiden, so he challenges him and says, "Everyone, stop bowing to him. He's not Raiden. He's not your god." Then gets his butt kicked by him and sees a little bit of electricity going on in his eyes. He's like, "Okay, maybe you are Raiden. I don't know. I'll still have my doubts." So Liu Kang then goes to this location where Johnny Cage and Sonya Blade meet up, and they're all meeting up to go to the Mortal Kombat tournament. Then they all get onto this really sick looking boat, and Sonya thinks she sees Kano at some point and just goes exploring on the boat, and then we are introduced to Shang Tsung again, who introduces two other familiar characters, Scorpion and Sub-Zero. And I'm not gonna lie, these guys actually look kind of cool until you see Scorpion's little... yeah. And then Raiden interrupts the little fight that was about to happen by saying, hey, your fighters can't fight my fighters, which doesn't really make sense considering Shang Tsung is the one who brought everyone onto this boat, basically. So should all three of Earthrealm's fighters be technically Shang Tsung's fighters, since he's technically the one who basically recruited? I don't know. So anyways, Raiden gives them the lore and backstory about like how certain tournaments have been won to Outer Realm. I think that's what it was called. It's been a while since I played Mortal Kombat. And like they just need one more victory in order to take over Earthrealm, and that they must stop it. And then they get to Shang Tsung's island, and a couple of hijinks happen, like Johnny Cage falling out of the boat into the water because he carries so much dang luggage. And Sonya Blade's compass is not working because they are in a bit of a mystical area, and stuff like that will not work. So they go into like this great grand hall like looking area, and Shang Tsung tells this statue to keep an eye out on the three heroes, which turns into a horrible CGI lizard. It's supposed to be reptile, you know, from the games, but oh dear god. And then later we are told a bit more about the tournament, and Sub-Zero shows off his moves a little bit. Then the three heroes go off exploring for a bit, and they run into a conversation between Kano and Prince Goro, which I gotta say, back in that time, he looks dang cool. He looks just like kind of how he did in the games, and it's really impressive. And so they like try to escape and like look for this one woman named Katana, because she was like briefly mentioned earlier. And Liu Kang tries to go look for Katana, and they get like a little bit of turned around, and they're now in the area where Kano and Goro were talking, and now fighting happens to the Mortal Kombat theme, and a lot of butts get kicked. And Raiden's like, hey, way to go, guys. What are you gonna do about them? And then there's just this big horde of like fighters, and they're like, crappy poopy. And then Raiden's like, hey, everybody back off. I could kill you all with just my electricity. Just run away. And so more backstory is given to them and stuff like that. Face your fears, all that jazz. And then the tournament finally begins with Liu Kang fighting random guy. And Liu Kang wins his fight. Shang Tsung steals the soul of the loser because Liu Kang didn't finish him, because this is a PG movie. We can't have any very gory kills. It's like playing the Super Nintendo version of Mortal Kombat 1. No blood! Then we go to see Sonya Blade's fight, and she fights Kano, the whole reason she joined in on this tournament. And it's not a bad fight. She wins. Kano dies. Cool. And then we go into this weird, like, little foresty area where we don't see any spectators or anything, but it's now Johnny Cage's time to shine, and he's fighting Scorpion. Oh god, I hate his rope attack in this. Why did they think this was a good idea? Other than that, he looks cool, but dang it! And then they get teleported into like another area, which, how is this fight being recorded into the tournament? And so they keep fighting in this really hellish looking area, and at one point Scorpion takes off his mask, and it's revealed that he's got like a skull face and starts breathing fire. And then Johnny like actually does the goriest looking kill when you think about it. Like, he slashes him, he's bleeding, and he like explodes, and then he like leaves a picture of an autograph, which is kind of like a finisher move when you think about it. Like, this is the most like Mortal Kombat like ending to any fight when you think about it. Then it's Liu Kang's turn again, and he fights Princess Katana, and she totally is giving him like, oh, I'm going to help you throughout this tournament. I'm gonna lose, by the way, so kick some ass. And then Shang Tsung's like, woman, what the hell? Your dad's the one who's trying to take over this world. Why are you doing this? Alright, and then it is Liu Kang's turn again, and he's fighting Sub-Zero. And by using a hint that he got from the previous fight from Katana, by using water, he defeats Sub-Zero by making him get impaled by his own ice, which kinda doesn't make sense when you think about it, but that's also the probably closest to another gory as heck fight we'll get. I don't know. It's a little weird. Then we see a bunch of people getting their butts kicked, one by one, because they're all fighting Goro. And even one guy's like, hey, I'm next, I can't wait to fight. Oh, what the hell is that? I'm a champ. And like, gets his butt kicked. And then Johnny Cage is like super pissed off that, oh man, all these cool fighters are like losing and getting their souls sucked out. I want to challenge this four-armed guy. And Raiden's like, dudes, you guys have to face your fears and all that jazz. Yeah, face your fears and you will be able to win anything. So Johnny's like, I'm always like rushing into things and stuff like that. So I'm going to rush into this fight and challenge Goro, even though he's like totally undefeated and is like the Mortal Kombat champion. And he wins by doing one of his trademark moves, the nut crotch freaking punch, and like tricks him into getting kicked off a cliff and all that jazz. And then after his victory of defeating Goro, we find out that Shang Tsung, the only reason he wanted Sonya Blade in this tournament was because he wanted to be able to trick someone into like making him like have the ability to choose whoever fighter he wants in order to win the Mortal Kombat tournament, and he chooses Sonya Blade because he's like, haha, weak girl, I will defeat her in Mortal Kombat and I will win this. So she becomes captive, and Johnny and Liu have to like go and save her by going to Outer World, and then they run into Reptile, who starts fighting Liu Kang. And I'm not gonna lie, this is actually a pretty cool looking fight. It's cool to see Reptile actually in this movie, like in his ninja gear, just not when he's a CGI monstrosity. And then Liu Kang wins. He does some awesome martial arts moves, and then like Reptile is just gets a bit of a weird looking kill. Turns into bugs, and then Liu Kang just steps on him. Katana's there also, by the way, for some reason. Don't remember seeing her go there. And then they go to the tower where Shang Tsung has changed Sonya Blade's clothes, weirdly. And then a bunch of monks like surround them and stuff like that. He's like, hey, you're gonna fight me. No, I'm not. Alright, then I'll win. And then Liu Kang's like, well, I'm gonna challenge you. And he's like, I don't want to fight you, but okay, I guess I have to. Because, why not? And so the fight between Shang Tsung and Liu Kang begins. And, like, it's not a bad fight at first. And then Shang Tsung, like, at one point transforms into Liu Kang's brother and is like, come on, don't you want to be with me and all that jazz? Just let them win, and everything will be all groovy. And then Liu's like, no, my brother's dead, but I will avenge him by killing you, Shang Tsung! And then just throws him to, like, the freaking bottom of this platform where there's, like, a bunch of spikes and all that jazz. Then Shang Tsung explodes, and all the souls, like, escape his body. And Liu Kang reunites with his brother's soul. He's like, hey, way to go, man. Awesome. Thanks for avenging me. He's like, no problem, man. And then, like, victory for all the good guys. And everyone's like, yeah, you did it, Liu. Yeah, I did it. And then they somehow go back to Liu Kang's, like, temple home. And, like, everyone's cheering. It's like, Raiden's like, hey, what took you guys so long? I could have totally beaten this thing, like, super easily, like Cranky Kong would have with Donkey Kong Country. And everyone's like, ha 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 ha. And then darkness comes, and lightning and all that jazz. And Shao Kahn just shows up like, I will conquer you all. And then Raiden's like, I don't think so. Bzz. And then that is the cliffhanger that leads to the end of the movie, and done. Wow, I really wrapped that up faster than I did with Super Mario now, didn't I?
Well, that was the original Mortal Kombat movie. And you know what? I gotta say, it was fun. I had some fun to watch. Yeah, I had some fun watching it. My stuttering butt. It did drag on a bit at certain times. There was a lot of fighting scenes, which is kind of what you want from a video game movie that's based on fighting. So it's like, all right, we've got a ton of fighting after Act 2 starts, and some of them are great, some of them didn't really seem like they were needed, but like the first fight, let's talk about that. The first fight in the Mortal Kombat tournament that started with Liu Kang and Nameless guy. Okay, that's to insinuate the fact that there's not just the video game characters that are in the Mortal Kombat tournament. There are other competitors and stuff like that. Obviously, they're not the most important, and they're gonna get their butts kicked. So awesome! Our heroes can like just sweep the competition and just kick butt. Now there was those fights. There was, let's see here, the first fight with Goro, where one of the martial arts that Johnny knew gets his butt kicked and soul sucked. Yeah, that was a loss for the good guys, I guess. I mean, it would be kind of cool if we, knew more about the guy, other than from like 1 or 2 scenes of interaction with him. But yeah. Now let's talk about some of these main fights. Sonya versus Kano. All right, 2 of like Mortal Kombat's like just flat out human characters. Okay, I mean, I was kind of you'd think, I don't know. After seeing what we got with the recent movie, you just want to see more blood and gore. With Sonya defeating Kano with the neck snap, and it's kind of off screen when she does it. It's like, okay, that's where the PG-13 is coming into this. Is it PG or PG? No, it's PG-13. There's a lot of death in this. There are deaths. There are some kind of brutal deaths, but there's no blood and gore to give it that Mortal Kombat feel. Like, with the exception of one fight, and that was with Johnny versus Scorpion. Now, I know what you're thinking. That was probably the corniest fight there because of all the bad CGI with Scorpion's freaking, his living blade. Okay, that's the one thing that really bugs me about this movie is how they did my boy Scorpion. He's my favorite character and is currently living in my shed at the moment. But I have to say, like, overall, that fight... Why are you bumping into the tripod? Peanut. That fight is probably one of, like, the top 5 fights in this movie. And yeah, there's a lot of fights, so hey, it's good to have 5 of them at least. Like, Johnny is just like... First he fights him in a forest, which is weird considering like all the other fights are like in front of like some spectators or something. And then he's teleported into this underground, like hellish looking area, which Scorpion can teleport in the games, but I don't know if how far his teleportation abilities can go. Like I know he can teleport to hell when he like after he does a finishing move on somebody. We see him do that all the time in the games, but I don't know how far his like teleportation goes when he's fighting somebody. Anyways, like after hearing him go, "Get over here, come down here, welcome," and stuff like that in the over-the-top Scorpion voice, it's like, okay, that's cheesy. It's cheesy, but like when Johnny like completely defeats him. Like, he's freaking going all out. He, like, chops Scorpion's head off. Well, partially. It was like, part of his head was cut right off. And he was sliced in the gut and just oozing whatever liquid that was. And it's just like, he just explodes. That's like the most over-the-top death in this movie. And then he does the finishing thing with leaving his autograph next to, like, pieces. And, like... With that, I felt like there was a little bit more potential. If we had more of that, like, brutality, I think this could have been a little bit better. Now, Liu Kang's fight with Sub-Zero. He uses water to like make a spear and pierces him in the gut, and somehow he turns into a Sub-Zero popsicle. I guess it's an ironic death or something like that. And that was alright. Okay. That was a little, not brutal, but that fight was something at least. And then, yeah, Goro's fight with Johnny. Again, it's like Johnny has some of the, like, Johnny's had 2 good fights. I think they're the only fights he's had in this movie. He's had 2 fights in this movie, and they're both decent. Unless you count like him, Liu Kang, and Sonya fighting the Horde and stuff like that. But Sonya had like 1 fight, really. 1 good fight, with the exception of like the Horde battle. And that was against Kano, and that was okay. Then there was like Liu Kang's fight with Katana, which was like, oh hey, I'm totally throwing in the towel, and just use water against Sub-Zero. You'll win. That was like, alright. Speaking of Katana, I wish they developed her a little bit more in this movie, because she was just like a background sensei kind of type character, which is weird considering we already have Raiden kind of as that a little bit. Christopher Lambert. I love your Raiden, man. I just do. He's kind of playful a little bit. A little bit more playful than the new one we've got. But yeah, I wish they gave more time to like develop Katana as a character. Like explain why she's more or less like betraying Shao Kahn to help Earthrealm and stuff like that. They like just dive. They use Goro as an exposition character explaining like what Katana is all about, sort of. And like that's all the character development she really gets. And I guess we could have like lost 1 fight, like 1 pointless fight, in order to like develop her a little bit. I would have been fine with that. But yeah, 3rd act going into like freaking Outworld and stuff like that. Fighting Reptile. Oh, Reptile. You are the physical embodiment of the bad CGI. Oh boy. Every time I see him, his CGI reptilian form. Oh god. It's bad. It's so bad, but they do make it a bit of an Easter egg in Mortal Kombat 11. And I kind of like it a little bit because of that. Now in his like humanoid form, that was a good fight. Liu Kang versus Reptile, that was a pretty cool fight. I just wish that Reptile would like taken out the mask, or not even taken out the mask, he had like a mouth hole in front of his mask. If he did like just 1 acid spit on Liu Kang, that would have been cool. And that's one thing about this movie is we don't get a lot of special moves. We get like a lot of the basic, like Liu Kang, bicycle kick, Johnny, crotch shot, and that's basically it. We get like a couple of the special moves from like the villains. That's kind of about it. It's like playing easy mode on like the first Mortal Kombat game, I would say. And it's like you don't need to use all the special moves. You just power right through with just using the basic moveset. And you know what? Overall, this movie may not have aged well visually in certain aspects, but the set design, the costumes, a lot of the stuff, like, that's not like CGI and stuff like that, looks great. I mean, Goro's a little bit on the side, but he still looks freaking intimidating. Like, when I was a kid, I remember seeing this a little bit, and I thought Goro was kind of scary. I thought he was kind of scary. As an adult, it's a little goofy, but if you were a kid and you saw this, yeah, he's a bit intimidating. And let's see here. As a video game adaptation, you know what? I kind of gotta give it an A. It's got the basic story down. It's got the characters. kind of to how they were. The costume designs, they look both semi yes and no to how they look like as the video game characters. Like some of them are a little on the, like, when they're like wearing normal people clothes, it's like a little off-putting. But like when you see them like be like more costume like accurate to the game characters, it's pretty cool. Like you can't go wrong with Sub-Zero. A little bit with Scorpion. That's just only because of the CGI robe. And Reptile's humanoid form. They look great. They look just like how they would in the original games and stuff like that. Shang Tsung looks freaking awesome. Liu Kang when... Stop moving the tripod. Liu Kang, he looks alright when he's like in full like Bruce Lee, I want to say shirtless kind of mode. That's basically it. And he looks just like he does in the games. Johnny, you could just put any outfit on him and just give him a smart ass attitude, and that's Johnny. Sonya, we didn't get her costume from the game, but she still looks pretty damn close. Raiden, he doesn't look anything like he does in the video games, but you know what? They did make his movie costume, as well as Sonya's and Johnny's, and I think Shang Tsung's and Kano's outfits from the movie into Mortal Kombat 11 as DLC. So that's kind of cool. And Kano, he kind of looks like how he did a little bit in the original game. He got the metal eye on him, and that was kind of cool. That's kind of a cool thing to see a little bit. So overall, yeah, as a video game adaptation, I do give it an A. Mind you, the highest rank for a video game adaptation for me is an S rank. It goes S, A, B, C, D, F, and then FFS. Which I think you can understand what that abbreviation stands for. That's for the worst of the worst. And, alright, for finisher, it says finish him on the back of this hat. So I'm like getting into the finishing this video. As a movie rating, I would give it maybe a B. Like for people who don't understand what Mortal Kombat, it does go into like a little bit of the basics, but because of some of the effects are hit or miss, but still kind of fun to watch. Like I remember watching this one time with my mom, and she was like, "You know what? This kind of reminds me of that one movie, Big Trouble in Little China," or something like that. And I was like, actually, that's not too far off. This, the video game Mortal Kombat was somewhat like inspired by that movie. And she was like, "Oh, hey, cool." Yeah, I was proud of her to get a little bit of that. So it was like, yay, she kind of like gets the reference a little bit of like the inspiration here. That's kind of cool. There you go, Mom. And yeah, so movie, it's all right. So I guess my overall rating of this would be A-, B+. So yeah, it's a pretty good movie in my opinion for like video game adaptation. It's a little cheesy, but you know what? It's still fun to watch, even with all the corniness. And yeah, that's my overall thought about the movie. It's not the best, but it's decent. Oh yeah, fun fact. Did you know that the director of this movie also did a bunch of other movies after this? Like he did Death Race, he did Alien vs. Predator, and he also did, as well as, oh yes, he did those. Well, thank you guys for joining us on this second episode of Gamers Movie Intel. I hope you enjoyed this. I think this is a bit shorter than the other one was. I don't know about this ending segment. I didn't even realize the ending segment of the last one was like 20 minutes, but hopefully this is a bit shorter and doesn't have to take a month long to edit. Until the next movie, see y'all soon for more to come.